So this of course is the blue face with the gold inlay on the strap and also the gold bezel as well. And this gold is what really concerned me the most. I thought that without really special care and really babying the watch, that this gold plating would slowly rub off and show the kind of the silver stainless steel underneath. But I'm happy to say that despite being used, as mentioned, almost every day in some pretty rough conditions as well, the strap's holding up incredibly well. You can see almost every single scratch because the light's directly on the strap at the moment on purpose. There's a lot of very fine kind of hairline scratches on the bracelet, as you'd expect. But under normal light and from a little bit of a distance, the watch looks pretty much as new. There's no serious parts of the watch that have been worn down without kind of the normal tolerance that you'd expect for wear and tear. Same goes with the clasp. There's a little signs of kind of rubbing here, as you can see, but again, this falls well within what I would expect to see from normal daily wear. And the strap's very comfortable. I've got to say, I'm very secure. It's never once come loose on me. In terms of the strap, when it came, it did have a very large bracelet. I've got to say, I've got very thick wrists, but still I had to have two links removed. The bracelet's very large, which is better than it being too short, of course. So all in all, the strap has held up much better than I thought it would, especially given the kind of wear that it's had. It's been on the beach, it's been in water, it's been worn an awful lot for a watch of this type. It hasn't just been used on kind of dressy occasions. Look at the business end of the watch and how the dial and the bezel have all held up, and I think they've held up incredibly well. The kind of chamfered edges here are as if they was new. There's absolutely no signs of wear there, or on the crown itself. It's just, it does look as it did when I first had it, and everything functions as it did before. The only signs really where I've seen some wear is just as the strap meets here. It may be very difficult to see, but clearly there's some rubbing here that can't be cleaned off. It's actually rubbed the metal together here. I'll put some closer pictures up so you can actually see that in a little bit more detail. But this is just minor. This is really just picking up on every single small piece that I possibly could. The only signs really on the glass of any wear is on the bubble itself here. You can probably see a very fine scratch just above where my nail is here, and again I'll put some closer pictures up. That's entirely my fault. Unfortunately, as I was wearing it, it hit against a wall that wasn't good for the watch at all, and that's left a little bit of a mark. But unless you're in direct sunlight and really looking close at the watch, it's not noticeable, and it doesn't affect the way that the watch functions in any way. Overall, I think for the price, even though I got it a little bit cheaper, they do average here around 100 euros. I think it's around 110 at the moment from Amazon. I think it's incredible value for money, and it's an incredible looking watch when you compare it to the more expensive divers watches. It stands up incredibly well. In fact, I think if you was to remove the Invicta engraving here on the side and change the logo here on the front, you wouldn't be able to tell it apart from some of the much more expensive divers watches that you see in the jewelers. In fact, I've been asked a few times if it is a Rolex, and you can see why. It's incredibly similar to its much more expensive brother. And overall, it's a beautiful watch. It's a very comfortable watch to wear. It keeps good time. I don't wear this every day, almost every day, but if I put it down for a few days, naturally it runs out of power. But it seems to go a very long time beforehand, usually a couple of days or so, before it completely gives up and you need to reset the time. But apart from that, I think there's very few watches of this price that offer you such substantial build quality and such good looks as well. It looks a lot more expensive than it is, and it also feels a lot more expensive than it is. It's got a good weight to it, and clearly after wearing it for such a long time and how it's held up, there is definitely a good quality there, considering the kind of prices that they're asking. Before I bought this watch, I did look at other reviews, as you can imagine, and everything seems to point to this model in its different colors being a very reliable, very affordable timepiece that offers very good quality in terms of what you're paying here. So if you was thinking of getting the watch or purchasing the watch, I really would recommend it. It's held up incredibly well. Next purchase, I think I'm going to go for a black Divers Pro, but maybe put a NATO strap on there. There's a few examples of those online, and they look really good. They do look very nice. But for now, this is definitely the main watch that I've worn. I've bought other watches whilst owning this, and I've always just reverted back to this after a very short amount of time. So all in all, it's a very good watch when you consider that this one cost me only around 70 euros, and how it's held up is perhaps the most impressive of all.